Alright, what is going on, my dudes? We're back here today with another champion entering MCOC. We have the Serpent. Now, this guy is pretty darn freaking cool, and I'm talking about in the looks department here. He kind of looks like if Kraven was going to a Halloween party dressed as Jack Sparrow. So right away, I'm intrigued, right? No, but he is an Asgardian character. He's Thor's uncle, so I obviously need the guy to join the Asgard crew. So I'm super excited for this dude. Super excited for Destroyer as well. I'm always happy about a nice Asgard month. We're gonna jump right into this guy today because he is very, very complicated in the words department, but he's pretty simple in reality. There are just a lot of words. We're not gonna go over everything here. We're gonna go over the important stuff, okay? So, first things first, let's start by talking about his Sig Ability. Does he need to be duped? Well, need is a very strong word. It's going to make him stronger. Look at the first line here. Each Cold Force charge grants additional attack rating, scaling with how close the opponent is to the wall, and you typically want to keep them in the corner, so it's usually at the top, right? Now, that's a decent amount of attack rating because you can have up to 16 Cold Force charges before you start gaining the passive Furies, right? So this is over about, give or take, let's just say like 5,000 plus attack rating when you're ramped, which is a decent amount, right? On top of that, he goes stun immune during the opponent's special attacks, which is definitely going to be more annoying on defense and occasionally useful on attack, but also, he kind of has like the Kindred / Hercules / Black Widow Clairvoyant thing here, where once per fight, when the Serpent would be knocked out, he has a 125% chance to consume all dread to gain a death immunity buff for up to 8 seconds. Now, this buff can't be staggered or nullified, right? And for each dread consumed, he starts the fight on defense with 3. For each dread consumed, this effect recovers 1.25% max health and grants 10% of a bar of power per second, okay? So, again, that lasts for 8 seconds, 10% of a bar of power per second. That's not even one full bar of power here, right? So it's not like too warping, but at the end of the day, you know, you kill the champion and he doesn't die, and then, you know, you could die in that time frame. That's just, it happens. It's happened to all of us. We've all died to Kindred and Root. We've all died to Hercules and Immortality, right? It's that kind of thing. So it makes him pretty annoying on defense. It's pretty useful on offense. It's a fun time for the whole family. Now, let's move on along, okay? So he has a lot of immunities and resistances, which is really, really nice, okay? He is immune to Power Lock, Special Lock, Heal Block, and Fate Seal, and he also prevents his ability power rate from being reduced below 50% by non-mystics, okay? So Quicksilver, Spidey 2099, not going to be able to cheese his power gain. America Chavez could, okay? He also has immunity to Cold Snap and reduces the duration of incoming bleeds by 90%, which is definitely really nice, okay? His combat power rate is reduced by 30%, cannot be reduced further, so, like, you know, I believe that's like future Ant-Man's, what's it called, Disintegration. It's not going to really cut his power gain he gains from attacking the opponent, right? Also reduces the potency of incoming power drain and burn effects by 60%. And at the start of each fight, he gains a power gain buff granting 25% of his max power over 8 seconds, and this balances out the reduced combat power rate because after 8 seconds, it goes on cooldown for 8 seconds, then it comes back, okay? Now, as a defender, when you're fighting him on defense, he inflicts a fear debuff for 10 seconds whenever the opponent activates an unblockable or unstoppable effect. Now, fear, it like reduces your block proficiency, and it also, more importantly, makes your unblockable ability accuracy go down, okay? Now, Dread, he has these persistent charges. He starts each quest with 1, okay, and winning a fight grants 1. At the start of each fight, he gains a Fury buff, kind of like Odin does, increasing his attack for each Dread, so up to like around 6,000 attack, around 2,000 for the first fight, okay? For each Dread, the opponent's crit penetration and the potency of instant damaging effects from champions are both reduced by 20%, stuff like Thorns, okay? Now, he has Cold Force charges that he gains in different ways throughout the fight, okay? When one of his buffs expires or is prevented by ability accuracy or immunity, he gains a charge when his power is drained or burned. He gains a charge when the opponent dashes back during his special attacks. That's more so when you're fighting him on defense, right? And then he gains a charge when per bar of power spent when he uses a special attack, plus an additional one if knocked into the wall. He loses charges when getting knocked down by a special attack, okay? Now, when you're using him in Battlegrounds, he starts with 4 charges. This is the first time we're seeing something like this, because we have a ramp-up champion who starts a little bit ramped in Battlegrounds. Battlegrounds, okay? So that's kind of nice. So with the Sig ability at Sig 200, you're going to start with about an additional plus 1200 attack right off the bat from 4 charges, okay? So keep that in mind. And when you get to 4, you gain a Resistance Up passive. When you get to 8, you gain a Pierce passive. That's really great for like future Ant-Man. So in Battlegrounds against future Ant-Man, the Pierce is going to happen right away because you can get to those 4 charges, which is going to bring you to 8 relatively quickly. At 12, whenever an attack would cause evade or miss to fail, you're going to deal a burst of damage, okay? And also, whenever the Serpent gains a charge, she gains a 40% inexorable passive for 3 seconds, plus some extra seconds per charge that's gained, okay? This effect does not trigger if already active and is removed if knocked down by a special attack. What inexorable does is it keeps you in place when you're being struck by special attacks. Now, basic attacks. Now, this could be on the block or actually getting struck by them. You're not going to move. It's almost as if you are rooted or unstoppable. It's very interesting. On top of that, your combat power rate is going to be increased by a bit. I think it's by the 40% potency, okay? So if you're getting hit, you're going to not move and gain extra power from getting hit. Now, you don't necessarily want to get hit when attacking, but on defense, it's going to be annoying, so keep it in mind, okay? Now, whenever the Serpent will gain 1 or more charges while at max charges, he instead gains a Fury passive, increasing attack by almost 1,000 for 60 seconds, maxing out at 20 stacks. So you combine that with the Cull First Charge attack rating, plus almost 20,000 extra attack, he starts to get up there, plus the Dread up to 6,000 extra attack. Yeah, in the longer fights, his attack really gets up there, you know? Now, he kind of has like that Hulkbuster playstyle where you want to throw the special attack into their block and it goes unblockable, okay? Now, you can do this in a few ways. Some people like to do like when you're attacking and you dash back quickly and do the special attack to make them force block. I personally don't love that method. I personally enjoy the method where you delay after a light or medium attack for your combo against the wall, and then you throw your special attack, forcing them to block. That's how I always prefer to go about doing it. I personally find it a little bit more reliable, but both ways are totally fine. Whichever way works for you, that's what you should do, but you definitely do want to do that. Also, alternatively, if both of those methods are a little bit too much for you, there's no shame in like backing up, hitting their block, and throwing the special into their block once you are already attacking. There is no rules against doing that whatsoever. You don't have to always be fancy, okay? Now, when you use a special attack, you gain an unblockable passive for 0.65 seconds, and if the first hit breaks the opponent's block, the unblockable is paused, and the potency of the instant damaging effects on his special 1 and 2 are increased by 70%. Okay? Also, when you use your special attack, you're going to gain a True Focus buff. This is the first champion to have True Focus in his kit, okay? This is removed when struck, but while it's active, it's going to counter both evade and miss, which is really, really solid. Also, while it's active, the Serpent's special attacks cannot be avoided with the Dexterity Mastery, which is a little bit annoying for sure, right? It's kind of like the photon thing going on, but I believe you can evade the first hit, but the projectile hits you cannot. So the first hit that is unblockable, you can move out of the way, but you just cannot dex those special attack beams, which you will see in just a little bit, okay? Now, let's talk about which special attacks you want to use. We'll go in backwards order. Special attack 3. This is for longer fights, okay? Necropolis, stuff like that, okay? This is where he really shines too, incursions. Now, you gain an hour of the Allfather passive, doubling all Cull Force charges and personal fury gains for 40 seconds. This is, of course, just going to help you ramp up faster if the Fury from Dread is not active, or if you have an Aptitude or Intensify from like the Thor Relic, okay, or an EQ node, you're going to reapply it, so it just gets a higher potency, okay? Also, if the attack deals 0 damage against like Indestructible or something, you're going to gain a power gain buff, granting you 2 bars of power over 1 second. So yeah, pretty much for longer fights, always for longer fights there. Now, the special 1 or special 2, which one should you use? Again, we're going in backwards order. So, special 2. Projectile hits deal a burst of damage multiplied by 250% of the opponent's armor rating. So if you're fighting a tech champion with lots of armor, Warlock, Iron Man Infinity War, Shuri, blah, 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 right? Those champions. You're going to want to use the special 2. On top of that, you also gain a power gain buff, right? Now, if you gain a power gain buff here, that means you're going to be gaining extra Cull Force charges because that buff is going to expire, plus you're using 2 bars of power to gain 2 Cull Force charges, plus knocking them into the wall. That's 4 total charges from the special 2, as opposed to the special 1, where you're going to gain 1 charge from using it, 1 charge from knocking them into the wall. So 2 charges for special 1, 4 charges for special 2. Now, keep in mind, you might be saying, okay, yeah, but that's just 2 charges per bar of power spent. Yes and no, because the special 2 is also going to give you that power gain buff, allowing you to get back to the special 2 faster, to keep ramping that to ramp up quicker if you want to. But, however, despite everything I just said, more often than not, you're going to want to spam the special 1 unless they are immune to cold snap or have armor, okay? Because the higher frequency of the special 1 spamming is going to end up doing more damage quicker for stuff like battlegrounds and whatnot, okay? Of course, at the end of the day, it will all depend on the encounter that you have in front of you. So, that is the Serpent. Like I said, he has so many words, he has so many things going on. Let's take a look at some gameplay here. We're going to jump right in against Future Ant-Man, a champion who he does really well against. This is like a rank 5 equivalent Future Ant-Man for like battlegrounds, right? And we're using a rank 2 Serpent, so this would be very, very akin to like rank 5 6-star Ascended, okay? Very similar aside from like challenge rating and stat focus here, okay? So, you'll see right away I'm going for the special 1s here against Future Ant-Man, even though he has the armor, right? Now, in Battlegrounds, we would just be getting the Pierce in just right here. We would be getting the Pierce, okay? So he wouldn't be glancing anymore in Battlegrounds, plus we'd be doing more damage, okay? So keep that in mind. We're about to get the Pierce actually in just 1 second here momentarily once this power gain goes away, okay? But as you can see, right, we're just kind of keeping things rolling here. We're going for the unblockable special into his block to increase the potency of our effects. Now, he does have 4 armors at this point, so we could go for the special 2 and kind of like end the fight there. We're going for the Pierce a little bit into the block, but we're going to finish it off with 1 more special 1 here, and that's going to be all that she wrote. Bam! Not too bad. About 60 seconds for Future Ant-Man. That could totally be full yellow barred without a doubt if it was a cleaner fight. Now, this is a bigger Future Ant-Man. 750,000 health. Now, we were talking about the special 3, right? So we're going to ramp up here to the special 3. Okay. We're going to throw this thing, and we're going to gain an hour of the All-Father passive. Check this thing out right here, okay? Bam! So what this is going to do is, instead of gaining 1 charge, we're going to gain 2 charges, and that's really great because we want to ramp up because this guy has 750,000 health. And what you're going to notice is, once you gain those 16 charges and you get that attack bonus increase, and once you gain those passive Furies, instead of gaining additional Cold Force charges, you're going to notice you ramp your damage so much faster, right? You're going to start seeing some big yellow numbers. You're going to start seeing some big bursts, right? And it's really nice. It's a good time. So we're going to go for the special 2 here. And watch, we're going from 13 Call Force charges, okay, all the way up to 16 plus 2 passive Furies, and then the power gain expired, we gained another 2 passive Furies. Now we're going for the special 1. Our bursts are all the way up there. We're gaining more Furies, and yeah, our damage is really nice now. We have the Pierce. We're at a full 100% health, okay? We're going to be seeing some nice big yellow numbers out of this guy if we crit. Look at the little burst of energy damage here in the wall. Here, I was a little slow on that, I guess, so he attacked into it. That's okay. It doesn't really matter. Here we have 10 passive Furies, right? So yeah, I really like this guy for Future Ant-Man specifically. 20k medium attacks now at this point when we're ramped, and we're going to finish it off with a nice big special 1. And as you can see, we were only like halfway ramped on the passive Furies, and we were starting to hit really, really nicely, you know? So let's see like some high armor here. This is the funniest way I could think to go about showing the special 2 damage on the high armor. It's essentially going to look against a Viv Vision here the same as it did against Ant-Man when we were ramped, okay? So look, check it out here. Bam! Okay? And look at the red numbers, 13,000 right off the bat with no Furies or anything and no ramp, okay? So as you can see, if you're facing a tech champion with the armor, you really do want to go for the special 2. Now let's look for this True Focus right here, okay? True Focus is a really, really great effect. We haven't seen it on a champion before, but it's very powerful because it counters 2 incredible things. It counters miss and also evade. Now you'll notice right here when we were blocking, look, we have the inexorable passive. Watch how we don't move. Isn't that interesting? That's a very interesting mechanic right there. So I'm sure this is going to be very useful for certain things in the future. It makes it easy to keep certain champions in the corner, okay? Now, let's look at this Sig Ability here, okay? Here's an Onslaught Special 2, and it's, oh my goodness gracious, we should have died, but we didn't. So now we have a chance to come back, and we're healing a little bit, and we're gaining power, as you can see, right? So it makes it easy to, like, attack and all that fun stuff. So yeah, the Sig Ability is definitely going to be a pain in the butt on defense, but it's not just that. It's also going to be able to save you on offense from time to time, which is really, really nice, you know, which is very nice. But yeah, the Serpent is a very interesting champion. I'm also going to play the champion rotation that I made for the deep dive because it really goes over a bunch of different things in depth and shows like little icons and everything for what you need to know, because there's so much that is going into this guy. So really quick, here's that. To begin, strike the opponent and push them back towards the wall. Unless the opponent is immune to Cold Snap, you'll want to use your special one. If possible, finish your combo and delay slightly before launching the special to encourage the opponent to block, increasing your burst. Keep in mind, your inexorable passive will make it easier to keep the opponent near their corner. And that true focus buff you gain from special attacks might come in handy for countering miss and evade. From here, just keep launching your special one and building your charges, watching your damage ramp as the fight goes on. Now, if you're fighting an opponent with a lot of armor, you might want to go for special 2s instead. That way, you can take advantage of the increased burst multiplied by the opponent's armor rating. Plus, you'll gain more Hull Force charges and ramp that much faster. And if you take the Serpent questing, you'll notice his persistent dread makes that Fury buff feel a lot juicier. And hey, in a longer fight, you could use your special 3 to gain your Hour of the Allfather passive, doubling your Hull Force charge and passive Fury gain, making it quicker to ramp, and opening the door to some huge yellow numbers. The Serpent likes to play the long game, so the longer the fight goes on, the more his opponent will be punished. So yeah, that's the Serpent, man, and that's everything it's got going on. Y'all know me, I love the Thor characters, so he's a lock for me. I'm buying him today and taking him to probably rank 5 and ascending him because he's a Thor character, and I have to. I'm legally required to. But even if I was not legally required to, I think this guy's pretty darn cool. I think that the starting with 4 charges and Battlegrounds might save him there on attack and make him a little bit better for that kind of content, but I think he could be useful for war. He's definitely great for longer fights. He's definitely a pain in the butt on defense and Battlegrounds, no doubt about that. Plus, he looks really cool too, dude. Look at that cloak. Look at everything he's got going on. So cool. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop your boy a big old like. Let me know what you think about the Serpent in the comment section below. And yeah, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the Destroyer coming out in a few weeks. I'll be seeing you around, man.